Welcome back to our series, The Mexican-American War on History with Herodotus. As the American army occupied Mexico City, the Mexican government was forced to confront the reality of its defeat. The once proud nation had been battered by a series of crushing defeats, and its capital city now lay under the control of a foreign power. It was clear that the war was all but lost, and that the only remaining question was what terms the Mexicans would be forced to accept. In this tumultuous atmosphere, a small group of Mexican politicians, led by Don Bernardo Couto, Manuel de la Pena Huipena, and Miguel Atristán, began secret negotiations with American diplomat Nicholas Trist. Trist had been sent to Mexico by President James K. Polk to negotiate a treaty that would bring an end to the war and establish a lasting peace between the two nations. However, these negotiations were not without their challenges. The Mexican government was deeply divided, with some factions advocating for continued resistance against the American occupation, while others pushed for a negotiated settlement. Meanwhile, Trist faced opposition from his own government, as President Polk had recalled him from Mexico in disgust over the slow pace of negotiations. Despite these obstacles, Trist remained in Mexico and continued to negotiate with the Mexican delegation. The talks were difficult and often contentious, with both sides dug in on key issues such as territory, borders, and reparations. However, slowly but surely, a framework for a treaty began to take shape. One of the most significant challenges facing the negotiators was the question of territorial concessions. The Americans had long sought to acquire a large portion of Mexican territory, including present-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and parts of Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. The Mexicans, on the other hand, were determined to hold on to as much of their land as possible. After months of grueling negotiations, a breakthrough finally came in January 1848. Trist and the Mexican delegation agreed on a treaty that would establish the Rio Grande as the border between the United States and Mexico, with the U.S. acquiring a vast amount of new territory in exchange for $15 million, and the assumption of $3.25 million in debts owed by Mexico to American citizens. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed on February 2, 1848, at the town of Guadalupe Hidalgo, just outside Mexico City. The treaty marked a significant turning point in the history of both the United States and Mexico, shaping the course of their relations for generations to come. As news of the treaty spread, it was met with mixed reactions from both sides. Many Americans celebrated the acquisition of new territory and the expansion of U.S. influence, while others criticized the treaty as too generous to the Mexicans. In Mexico, the treaty was widely seen as a national humiliation, with many Mexicans feeling that their government had betrayed them by surrendering so much land. In the aftermath of the treaty's signing, Trist faced intense criticism from his own government, which had grown impatient with the slow pace of negotiations. Despite this, Trist remained proud of his accomplishment, knowing that he had played a crucial role in shaping the future of North America. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo also had significant implications for the people living in the territories acquired by the United States. Many Mexicans who found themselves on the wrong side of the new border faced an uncertain future, with some choosing to remain in their homes and become U.S. citizens, while others opted to relocate to Mexico. As we conclude our exploration of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, it is clear that this period was marked by significant challenges and triumphs. The negotiations were complex and often contentious, but ultimately, they produced a treaty that would shape the course of history for generations to come. That's all for today. Join us next time on History with Herodotus as we continue our series on the Mexican-American War with Episode 10, Consequences and Legacy.